The scent of bleach and regret clings to my skin, a constant reminder of my station. I scrub the great hall's flagstones on my hands and knees, my knuckles raw, my back a landscape of aches. Here, in the heart of the Blood Moon Pack, I am less than a shadow. I am Ilara, the wolfless Omega, the unfortunate stepdaughter of the Beta's widow. My existence is a service, a debt my stepmother, Lyra, claims I owe for the air I breathe. She sold me to this life of servitude the moment my father passed, my worth measured only in the cleanliness of the floors I polish. Today, the air is thick with more than just floor wax and roasting meat. It buzzes with a nervous energy that prickles my skin. Alpha King Kalen of the Ironclaw Dominion is visiting. He is a legend, a king of kings, his territory spanning 3 mountain ranges. His arrival is a monumental event, and the pack is frenzied with preparations. Every surface must gleam. Every morsel of food must be perfect. For the unmated she-wolves, it is a day of breathless hope. For me, it is just another day of back-breaking labor, with the added threat of Lyra's sharp-tongued displeasure if I am seen or heard. "Faster, you useless girl," she hisses, her voice a whip crack in the bustling hall. Her own scent is sharp with ambition, a cloying mix of rosewater and greed. She hopes her own daughter, Clarice, will catch the Alpha King's eye. "The king will be here before the sun is high. Do you want him to see this filth?" I keep my head down, my gaze fixed on the gray stone. My wolf, or the space where she should be, is a hollow ache inside me. Every other member of the pack, from the mightiest warrior to the youngest pup, has an inner beast, a source of strength and identity. My silence, that inner void, is my greatest shame. It is the flaw that defines me, the reason I am fit only for scrubbing floors. Worthless, Lyra's voice echoes in my mind. Wolfless. A sudden hush falls over the hall. The frenetic energy solidifies into a wall of reverent silence. I dare a glance up from beneath my lashes. Framed in the great doorway stands a figure so immense, so powerful, he seems to drink the very light from the room. Alpha King Kalen. He is taller than any man I have ever seen, with shoulders broad enough to carry the weight of his dominion. His hair is the color of midnight, and his eyes, even from this distance, are like chips of winter ice. But it is his scent that undoes me. It hits me like a physical blow, a tidal wave of pine, winter frost, and something else, something primal and dangerously male that speaks directly to the barren space inside me. It is the most beautiful, most terrifying scent I have ever known. The empty cavern in my chest suddenly convulses with a shocking, impossible jolt. A flicker of warmth, like a long, dormant ember, sparks to life. And then I feel it. A pull, an invisible cord snaps taut between us, vibrating with an energy so potent it makes the hairs on my arms stand on end. His head, which had been surveying the assembled pack leaders, whips around. His icy gaze sweeps the room, past the preening she-wolves, past the bowing betas, until it lands on me, on the pathetic, kneeling servant girl in the corner. For a heartbeat, the world stops. The scent intensifies, wrapping around me, claiming me. A single, impossible word blooms in the deepest part of my soul. A word I've only ever read about in forbidden lore. A word that has no place in my wolfless world. Mate. The ember inside me flares, a tiny sun of impossible hope. Could it be? Could the fates be so cruel, so kind, as to bind me, the wolfless Omega, to an Alpha King? His eyes lock with mine, and I see a flicker of shock. of raw, primal recognition in their depths. His nostrils flare. He is scenting me, just as I am scenting him. The invisible cord between us hums, a low thrum of destiny. My heart hammers against my ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage of bone. This is it. This is the moment that changes everything. The hope is so sharp, so exquisitely painful, it steals my breath. Then his expression shifts. The shock hardens into disbelief, then cools into something sharp and cruel. Contempt. His upper lip curls in a faint sneer. He breaks eye contact, turning his attention to our alpha, Marcus, as if I am nothing more than a piece of dirt he has unfortunately noticed on the floor. The cord between us does not break, but a glacial coldness seeps through it, a frost that begins to extinguish my fledgling hope. The warmth inside me sputters, chilled by the arctic blast of his disdain. The great feast begins. I am relegated to the kitchens, my hands busy washing an endless mountain of greasy pots. But my mind is a maelstrom. The bond, this fragile, terrifying connection, pulses with his proximity. I can feel his presence on the other side of the wall, a magnetic pull that is both a torment and a treasure. I can feel the low thrum of his power, the rumble of his voice, even if I cannot make out the words. My inner emptiness now has a name for its ache. Kaelin. Hours later, Lyra yanks me from the kitchens. "The king has requested more wine," she snaps, thrusting a heavy silver pitcher into my hands. "Do not stumble. Do not speak. And for the love of the moon, do not look him in the eye." My hands tremble as I carry the pitcher into the great hall. The air is thick with the smells of roasted meat, wine, and the mingled scents of the pack. But above it all, Kaelin's scent reigns supreme, a clean, sharp frost that calls to me. He sits at the head of the high table, a king in his element, powerful and remote. Clarice is seated near him, laughing too loudly at something one of his guards says, her scent a desperate cloud of perfume. I approach the table, keeping my eyes fixed on the wooden grain. My heart pounds a frantic rhythm against my ribs. The bond between us is a physical thing now, a taut wire humming with 1,000 unspoken emotions. His, not mine. I feel a wave of irritation, of impatience, wash over me from his side of the connection. He wants this farce of a dinner to be over. As I reach his side to pour the wine, my trembling hands betray me. A single drop of deep red wine splashes onto the pristine white of his tunic just over his heart. It blooms like a sudden violent wound. I freeze, my blood turning to ice water in my veins. A deathly silence descends upon the table. Every eye is on me. Lyra makes a choked sound of fury. I risk a glance up at the king. His face is a mask of cold fury. His winter blue eyes are fixed on the red stain, then they lift to mine, and the contempt I saw earlier is now a raging blizzard. "What is this?" His voice is a low growl, a rumble of thunder that vibrates through my bones. It is not a question. It is an accusation. I am sorry, Your Majesty," I whisper, my voice barely audible. "It was an accident." He rises slowly to his full terrifying height, dwarfing me. The pack members shrink back, their fear a palpable scent in the air. He looks down at me, not as a king looks at a subject, but as a man looks at vermin. "An accident," he repeats, his voice dripping with venom. He grabs my arm, his fingers like bands of steel. A jolt of pure, agonizing fire shoots up my arm, the first touch between us a brand of pain. It is the spark of the mate bond, twisted and corrupted by his revulsion. "Mine," A savage, unfamiliar voice whispers deep inside me, followed by an echo of his own beast. Reject. He drags me into the center of the hall, the pitcher crashing to the floor and spilling a river of red across the stones. He shoves me forward and I stumble, catching myself before I fall completely. I am now the center of attention, a pathetic spectacle for the entire pack. Lyra looks horrified, not for me, but for the potential damage to her own ambitions. You dare! He snarls, his voice echoing in the cavernous room. You dare approach me? You, a wolfless runt, a flaw in the bloodline. Do you think I do not know what you are? My blood runs cold. He knows. The one thing that has defined my miserable existence. He throws it at me like a stone. The hope that had flickered inside me is finally brutally extinguished. I have felt the supposed bond, he continues, spitting the word like a curse. The fates have a sick sense of humor to tie me to something so utterly worthless. Each word is a physical blow, backed by the force of his alpha command. The room spins. The faces of the pack swim before my eyes, a mixture of pity, scorn, and cruel satisfaction. I, Alpha King Kalen of the Ironclaw Dominion, he proclaims, his voice ringing with absolute authority, do hereby reject you, Ilara of the Blood Moon Pack, as my mate. You are nothing to me. You are weak, you are flawed, and you are unworthy to stand in my shadow, let alone by my side. A collective gasp ripples through the crowd. A public rejection. It is the ultimate humiliation, a sentence worse than death. The bond, that fragile humming cord between us, snaps. The sound is silent, yet I feel it as a tearing in my very soul. An agony so profound, so absolute, it rips a raw scream from my throat. I collapse to my knees, clutching my chest as the pain hollows me out, leaving nothing but a screaming, desolate void where that tiny spark of hope had been. The last thing I see before the darkness claims me is his face, cold and implacable, turning away from me without a flicker of remorse. My world, which had for a single, breathtaking moment held the promise of a universe, shrinks to a single point of unbearable pain, and then vanishes. I am cast out at dawn. No one speaks to me. No one meets my eye. Alpha Marcus, his face grim, carries out the king's decree. My presence is an insult to the Alpha King, and I am to be exiled. Lyra watches from the doorway of the pack house, her expression one of pure, unadulterated triumph. She has finally gotten rid of the inconvenient reminder of her husband's first wife. I am given a small satchel with a loaf of stale bread, a water skin, and the threadbare tunic and leggings I stand in. The great gates of the pack territory creak shut behind me, the sound of final heavy note of banishment. I am alone. The wilderness stretches before me, vast and indifferent. The pain of the rejected bond is a constant physical presence. It is a shard of ice lodged in my heart, a burning fire in my veins. Every breath is a struggle, every step an act of defiance against the agony that screams for me to lie down and die. The bond is not truly gone. It is a festering wound, a corrupted connection that now transmits only his lingering disgust and my own soul-crushing despair. Days bleed into one another. I walk until my feet are raw, foraging for berries and roots, drinking from streams. The nights are the worst. The cold seeps into my bones, and the darkness is filled with the sounds of predators. I am prey, weak and wolfless, an easy target. The ache in my chest is a constant companion, a hollow space that echoes with his words. Worthless, flawed, nothing. I collapse near the edge of a frozen river, my body finally giving out. The bread is long gone, my water skin is empty, and a feverish chill has taken root deep inside me. This is it. This is rock bottom. The cold is a welcome numbness, promising an end to the relentless pain. I close my eyes, ready for the end. Let the wolves or the winter take me. It is better than this half-life, this existence as a ghost haunted by a bond that should have been a blessing. As I lie on the snow-dusted ground, drifting in and out of consciousness, something stirs within the deep, silent void inside me. It is not the familiar emptiness, but a slow, rhythmic pulse, like a deeply sleeping heart beginning to wake. The shard of ice in my chest, the nexus of my pain, seems to be the source. A faint, silvery light begins to glow beneath the skin of my chest, pulsing in time with this new, strange heartbeat. It is a cold light, like that of the moon, but it does not chill. Instead, it pushes back against the encroaching frost of death, a tiny, defiant bastion of power. Not yet, a voice whispers. It is not my voice. It is ancient, female, and filled with the power of tides and celestial light. We do not die here. The silvery light flares, and for the first time since the rejection, a flicker of warmth, fragile but real, spreads through my frozen limbs. It is not hope. It is something older, fiercer. It is survival. A year passes, a year of brutal survival that hardens my body and forges my spirit in the crucible of solitude. The voice that whispered to me that day by the river becomes a steady presence. She is the wolf I never had, but she is more than that. She is ancient, powerful, and she calls herself a lichen, a spirit of the moon bound to my bloodline. My family, she tells me in dreams and quiet moments, were not wolfless. They were moon-touched, guardians of a balance that the modern packs have forgotten, their power waxing and waning with the lunar cycle. The ability was bred out, suppressed, feared, but it did not die. It slept, waiting for a catalyst, for a shock violent enough to awaken it. Kalen's rejection, the act that was meant to destroy me, was the very thing that woke my true nature. I am no longer the frail, timid Ilara. I live in the high peaks of the Whispering Mountains, a place other shifters avoid, a place of harsh winds and ancient secrets. I found a ruined temple here, dedicated to the moon goddess, and it has become my sanctuary and my training ground. My body, once soft from servitude, is now corded with muscle. I can scale sheer rock faces, run for miles without tiring, and hunt the fierce mountain cats that roam these peaks. The silvery light is now a power I can command, a shimmering aura of lunar energy that I can shape into shields of hard light or blades of cutting cold. My senses are sharper than any wolf's. I can hear a pin drop a mile away and scent a storm on the wind hours before it arrives. My inner lichen, whom I have come to call Luna, guides me. Feel the moonlight on your skin. She purrs in my mind as I train under the full moon, my power at its zenith. It is your strength. His rejection was a gift, little one. It severed you from a world that would have kept you caged. Now, you are free. The pain of the bond remains, a dull, phantom ache in my soul, a constant reminder of the man who broke me. But it no longer defines me. It is a scar, not a mortal wound. I have built a new life, a new identity, on the ruins of the old. I am Alara of the mountains, the moon-touched huntress. I am no one's servant. I bow to no alpha. I am my own queen. One evening, as I sit by my fire, I am not alone. A man emerges from the swirling snow, his movements silent and graceful. He is tall and lean, with silver hair that matches the moonlight and eyes the color of warm amber. His scent is of pine and clean earth, comforting and calm. He is a shifter, a wolf, but he does not carry the aggressive arrogance of the pack wolves I knew. He bows his head slightly, a gesture of respect, not submission. I am Lysander, he says, his voice as calm as a forest pool. I am the alpha of the Silverwood Enclave. We have lived in these mountains for generations, in peace. We sensed a new power awakening, and I came to see. I remain wary, a blade of moonlight shimmering into existence at my fingertips. I mean you no harm, I tell him, my voice steady. He smiles, a gentle, genuine expression. I know. Your power feels clean, like the mountain itself. It is not a thing of darkness. He looks at me not with fear or greed, but with a respectful curiosity. I have heard the legends of the moon touched. I thought they were just stories. Over the following months, Lysander becomes a frequent visitor, and then a friend. He tells me of his enclave, a small, peaceful pack that values balance over dominance. They live in harmony with the land, a stark contrast to the aggressive expansionism of packs like Kalen's. He teaches me about the world of shifters I never knew, the politics, the alliances. In return, I show him the ways of my lunar magic. He is the first person to ever look at my power and see it as a gift, not a flaw. He sees me. You have a strength Kalen could never comprehend, he tells me one night, as we watch the aurora paint the sky above the peaks. His power comes from brute force and the submission of others. Yours comes from within. It is pure. There is a warmth in his amber eyes that I recognize. He is starting to care for me as more than a friend. A part of me, the part that longs for kindness and acceptance, is drawn to him. He represents a safe harbor, a peaceful life I never dreamed I could have. He is good and kind and patient. He is everything Kalen was not. But when he looks at me with that gentle affection, the scar on my soul gives a faint, painful throb. It is a dull, persistent ghost, a reminder that my heart is not entirely my own, even a year later, even after all this. He is the logical choice, the safe choice. But the mate bond, even broken, is not logical. It is a primal, indelible mark. The first sign of the new darkness comes on the wind. It is a scent of decay and nothingness, a void that chills the air and makes the very shadows seem to crawl. The creatures come at night, things of nightmare and living darkness, with claws of solidified shadow and eyes that glow with malevolent red light. The Umbra. Lysander's pack has encountered them before in small numbers, but now they are growing bolder, more numerous. They are drawn to sources of power, and my awakening has drawn them to the Whispering Mountains like moths to a corrupted flame. My lunar magic is devastatingly effective against them. The silvery light of my power dissolves their shadowy forms like water on salt. I fight alongside the Silverwood wolves, protecting their territory, earning my place not as a guest, but as a guardian. I am no longer just Ilara, the huntress. To them, I am the moon sentinel, a figure of hope against the encroaching night. My status, once lower than dirt, is now one of reverence and power. I have found a new pack, a new family, a new purpose. And for a while, I almost believe I have escaped my past completely. My name is Kalen, and I am a king haunted by a ghost. It has been a year since I rejected her. A year since I stood in that hall and broke the one person the fates deemed my equal. I did it out of pride, out of fear. A wolfless Omega? My counsel was already whispering about the weakness in my bloodline, my inability to produce an heir after my first mate died in childbirth years ago. To accept a wolfless mate would have been seen as the final proof of my decline. So I did the unthinkable. I denied my own soul. And I have been paying the price ever since. My wolf, my inner beast, is my tormentor. He, who once stood with me as a unified force, now rages against the bars of my consciousness. Fool! He snarls in my mind, a constant litany of rage and despair. You threw away our soul. You broke our mate. He gives me no peace. Sleep is a battlefield of nightmares. I see her face, the hope in her eyes turning to shattered agony. I feel the bond snap, again and again, a phantom tearing in my chest that never heals. Some nights, I wake to the sound of my own voice, a raw, desperate howl that echoes in the cold emptiness of my royal chambers, and the name that howl forms is always hers. Ilara. I have tried to move on. I have entertained princesses from powerful allied packs, beautiful, strong she-wolves with impeccable bloodlines. But their scents are like ash in my nostrils. Their touch is like ice. I can feel nothing. The bond to Alara, broken as it is, acts as a permanent barrier. It is a ghost limb, still capable of excruciating pain, preventing any other connection from taking root. My wolf refuses them all, recoiling with violent disgust. Not her, not our mate. My dominion feels the strain of my inner turmoil. I am colder, harsher. My judgment is clouded by sleeplessness and the constant war within myself. My guards whisper that the king is cursed. They are right. I cursed myself. The stain on my tunic from that day feels like it has seeped into my skin, a permanent mark of my failure directly over my heart. I see it every time I look in a mirror. The reports begin as whispers from the outlying territories, shadow creatures, the Umbra attacking patrols, raiding villages. An ancient evil, thought to be mere legend, is rising again. They are growing stronger, more organized, and they are pushing south, toward the heart of my dominion, toward the Blood Moon Pack's lands. Our weapons are not as effective against them as they should be. They are creatures of spirit as much as flesh, and our steel does little to harm their leaders. The pack shamans say they are drawn to instability, to a wound in the world's spiritual balance. They are drawn to me, to the festering wound of my broken bond. The elders come to me with a desperate plea. They speak of ancient legends, of a power that can fight the Umbra, a lunar power. They speak of the moon-touched, a bloodline long thought extinct, hunted into oblivion centuries ago for being too powerful, too uncontrollable. And they speak of a new legend, a rumor from the Whispering Mountains, a lone huntress, a ghost who commands the light of the moon, who has single-handedly held back the Umbra tide from the northern peaks. They call her the Moon Sentinel. My blood runs cold. The Whispering Mountains. That is the direction the wolfless Omega was exiled. It cannot be. It is an impossible coincidence. But my wolf, for the first time in a year, stirs with something other than rage. A sliver of desperate, agonizing hope. Her, he whispers, his voice a raw prayer. Find her. Find our mate. The thought is madness. The girl I cast out was a weak, trembling servant. Not a legendary warrior, but I am a desperate king and a desperate man. I will lead the expedition myself. I will go to the Whispering Mountains and seek out this moon sentinel. I have to know. Even if it is not her, I need her power. If it is, if by some impossible miracle it is her, I do not know what I will do. How can you ask for forgiveness from someone whose soul you have tried to murder? The journey into the Whispering Mountains is arduous. The air grows thin and cold, and the very rocks seem to hum with a strange, ancient power. The Umbra attack us twice, and we barely fight them off, my best warrior's claws and blades doing little more than inconveniencing the larger shadow beasts. We are losing hope when we find the tracks. They are not wolf prints, but they are not human either. They lead us higher, toward a secluded peak shrouded in mist. As we approach the summit, a figure appears on a high ridge, silhouetted against the pale moon. A woman. She is tall, poised, wrapped in white furs with a silver bow in her hand. The wind whips her long, dark hair around her face. Even from this distance, her presence is immense, a quiet, humming power that makes the air itself vibrate. And then the wind shifts, carrying her scent down to me. It is her. It is Alara. But the scent is not the simple, clean fragrance of the girl I remember. It is still her, the scent that is imprinted on my soul. But now it is layered with the ozone of a lightning storm, the chilling purity of moonlight, and the untamed wilderness of the mountain itself. It is the scent of power, of authority, of a queen. My heart stops in my chest. My wolf howls in a mixture of triumph and agony. Mate, ours. She is alive, and she is magnificent. The broken, trembling girl is gone, and in her place stands a goddess. The realization of what I have lost, of the person I tried to discard, hits me with the force of a physical blow. I am suffocated by the magnitude of my own stupidity, my own pride. She draws her bow, the string glowing with a soft, silvery light. That is far enough, Ironclaw King. Her voice rings out, clear and cold as a mountain spring. It carries easily on the wind, infused with an authority that rivals my own. It is the voice of the timid girl from the Great Hall, but all the fear has been burned out of it, leaving only steel. I step forward, my guards tensing behind me. Alara? I call out, my voice hoarse. I cannot keep the disbelief, the awe from my tone. She gives a cold, humorless laugh. You have a king's memory for a servant's name. I am surprised. Her gaze is sharp, analytical, and utterly devoid of the warmth I saw for that one fleeting moment a year ago. She is looking at me as if I am a potential threat to be neutralized. We need your help, I say, forcing the words out. The irony is a bitter pill to swallow. I, who declared her worthless, am now here to beg. The Umbra are attacking the southern lands. Our weapons are failing. We heard of your power. My power, she repeats, her voice dangerously soft. She takes a step forward, moving with the fluid grace of a predator. The power of the wolfless runt? The flaw in the bloodline? Why would you seek help from something so utterly worthless? She throws my own words back at me, each one a perfectly aimed dagger that finds its mark in my conscience. I have no answer. I can only stand there, exposed and ashamed, as her cold eyes strip away my crown, my title, my pride, leaving only the man who destroyed his own soul. The bond between us, that festering wound, flares to life with our proximity. It is a torrent of agony now, a screaming vortex of her righteous fury and my profound, soul-deep regret. I can feel her pain, the memory of her humiliation, as if it were my own. And mingled with it, I can feel her new strength, a formidable, unyielding wall of power. She is no longer the one who is kneeling. I am. Just then, a man appears at her side. He has silver hair and warm, protective amber eyes that are fixed on me with open hostility. A wolf, an alpha. His scent is wrapped around her, a scent of pine and earth and possessiveness. He places a hand on her arm, a gesture of familiar intimacy that sends a spear of white-hot jealousy through me. My wolf roars in my head. Who is he? Tell him she is ours. Is there a problem, Ilara? The silver-haired alpha asks, his voice a low growl. He does not take his eyes off me. No problem, Lysander, she replies, her voice softening almost imperceptibly as she speaks to him. That small shift in her tone is another dagger in my gut. The king was just leaving. She turns her back on me, on her mate. She turns her back and walks away, standing beside this other alpha, a united front against me. The dismissal is more absolute, more devastating than any tirade of anger could have been. A year ago, I turned my back on her. Now she returns the favor, and I finally truly understand the depth of the wound I inflicted. It is a chasm that may be impossible to cross, and as I watch her disappear into the mist with him, I know that this is not just a battle against the Umbra. It is a battle for my very soul, and I have already done everything in my power to lose. I do not leave. I cannot. My wolf will not allow it. He is a caged beast, clawing at the inside of my skull, screaming at me to go after her, to fall on my knees, to tear the other alpha apart. I make camp with my warriors at the base of her mountain, a silent, desperate vigil. I am the king of the Iron Claw Dominion, and I am reduced to waiting like a beggar at her gates. A few days later, she descends the mountain, not alone, but with Lysander and a cadre of his Silverwood warriors. She stops a stone's throw from my camp, her face an unreadable mask of cold duty. Lysander stands at her shoulder, his hand resting lightly on the hilt of his sword, his message clear. The Umbra are a threat to the entire continent, Alara says, her voice devoid of any personal feeling. It is the voice of a commander addressing a subordinate. My duty is to the balance of this world, not to you or your kingdom. The Silverwood Enclave has agreed to an alliance. We will fight with you, but you will follow my command when it comes to battling the shadows. My magic is the only thing that can truly destroy their leaders. Do you agree to these terms? She has me, and she knows it. To save my people, I must submit to her authority. The Alpha King, bending the knee to the Omega he cast out. The irony is so thick I can taste it. I agree, I say, my voice tight. Pride is a luxury I can no longer afford. Good, she says, her tone clipped. We march at dawn. My warriors and yours will integrate. Lysander will coordinate the main force. You and your personal guard will report directly to me. The power clash is immediate and brutal. She is a natural leader, her commands precise, her strategy flawless. She moves with a confidence that leaves my own seasoned generals in awe. She treats me with a chillingly professional distance, her eyes sliding over me as if I am just another soldier in her command. The forced proximity is a unique form of torture. I am close enough to breathe her scent, to see the way the moonlight catches in her dark hair, to feel the constant, agonizing pull of the bond. But she has erected a wall of ice around her heart, a wall I have no idea how to breach. Lysander is her shadow, her confidant, her right hand. I watch them together, their heads bent over maps, their movements in easy sync. I see the way he looks at her, with an open, honest adoration that I, in my arrogance, denied her. The jealousy is a living thing inside me, a serpent coiling in my gut. Every shared smile, every light touch between them is a twist of the knife. My wolf is in a constant state of fury. She is ours. He touches what is ours. Take her. But I clamp down on the possessive rage. I have no right. I forfeited all rights a year ago. One night, I find her alone by the edge of a lake, staring at her reflection in the moonlit water. This is my chance. I have to try. I approach slowly, my heart hammering. Ilara, I say softly. She does not turn. What do you want, Kaelin? Her use of my name is not an intimacy. It is a weapon, stripping away my title and leaving me bare. I wanted to say, I am sorry. The words feel small, pathetic, utterly insufficient for the chasm of pain I created. She finally turns, and the look in her eyes is not the cold fury I expected. It is a weary, profound sadness. Sorry, she says, her voice quiet. Sorry for publicly humiliating me, for calling me worthless, for casting me out to die, for breaking my soul. Which part, exactly, are you sorry for? All of it, I say, my voice cracking. Every second of it. It was pride, fear. I was a coward. There is no excuse. I saw your power, your worth, in that first moment, and it terrified me. A wolfless omega with the spirit of a queen. It threatened my authority, my control. So I destroyed it. I destroyed you. Or I tried. You succeeded for a time, she says, her gaze distant as she remembers the pain. You broke me into 1,000 pieces. But you are wrong about one thing. You did not destroy me. You have no idea what I had to do to put myself back together. Every piece is a scar, and every scar remembers you. I know, I whisper, taking a hesitant step closer. I feel it too, the bond. It never went away from me. Ilara, it has been a year of torment. My wolf, he has been punishing me every single day. Good, she says, her voice turning hard as steel. You deserve 1,000 years of torment. Your pain does not absolve you. It does not erase mine. Do not ever mistake your suffering for my forgiveness. She turns to leave, but I cannot let her. My desperation overrides my shame. Please, I beg, my voice raw. What can I do? I will do anything, anything to earn a chance to fix what I broke. She stops, her back still to me. Fix it, she says, her voice filled with a bitter, hollow sound that might have been a laugh. You cannot fix a soul, Kaelin. Some things, once shattered, can never be made whole again. You want to do something? Help me win this war. Be the soldier you are supposed to be, and stay away from me. She walks away, leaving me alone in the moonlight with the shards of my own making. Her words are a final, definitive rejection, and yet, for the first time, she did not deny the bond. She acknowledged the shared pain. It is the smallest, most fragile sliver of hope. But for a man starving in the desert, it is enough to keep walking. The grovel has just begun, and I will see it through to the end. Even if that end is her walking away from me forever. I have to prove that I am no longer the man who broke her. I have to become the man who is worthy of her scars. The alliance is a fragile thing, a spider's thread woven from necessity and mistrust. We push south, a strange army of Ironclaw warriors and Silverwood shifters, led by a moon-touched huntress. Ilara is magnificent in battle. She wades through the umbra, a whirlwind of silver light and flashing blades, her power a beacon of hope in the encroaching darkness. I fight near her, not by right, but by her command. My role is to protect her flank, to cut down any shadow beast that gets past her guard. It is a penance, and I accept it. To serve her, to protect her, is the only thing that gives me purpose now. My wolf is a strange mix of pride and agony. See how she burns. Our mate is fire and moonlight. He exults as she single-handedly dissolves a hulking shadow brute. Then, when Lysander's wolves form a protective circle around her as she rests, he snarls. They guard what is ours. We should be her shield. The forced proximity erodes my composure. The scent of her power, of her, is a constant temptation. I watch her share a meal with Lysander, the easy camaraderie between them, a stark contrast to the tense silence that falls whenever I am near. He makes her smile, a small, genuine curve of her lips that I have never seen directed at me. The sight is a fresh torment. One evening, Lysander seeks me out. I expect a challenge, a fight for dominance. Instead, he simply stands before me, his amber eyes calm and assessing. She is not a prize to be won, Kaelin, he says quietly. I have seen the way you look at her, the way your beast claws at the surface. You feel the bond. I know. She is my mate, I growl, the possessive words slipping out before I can stop them. She was your mate, he corrects gently, but with a spine of steel. You surrendered that title when you cast her out. The woman she is now, she's not the girl you rejected. She was forged in the fire you threw her into. You do not know her. I do. You want her for yourself, I accuse, my voice low. He shakes his head. I want her to be happy. I want her to be safe. I care for her deeply. If she were to choose me, I would spend my life honoring her. But I am not a fool. I feel the echo of your bond. It is a ghost that stands between us, a ghost you put there. It is a wound that has never healed for either of you. He takes a breath, his gaze unwavering. I will not be her second choice, a safe harbor from the storm that is you. And I will not stand by and watch her settle for a life of quiet desperation because she is afraid to face that storm. The choice must be hers, and hers alone, free from my influence, and free from your demands. Find a way to heal the wound you caused, Kaelin, not for your sake, for hers. He turns and walks away, leaving me stunned. He has not surrendered. He has laid down a challenge. He has gracefully, with dignity, stepped aside to give her the space to make her own choice, demonstrating a respect for her agency that I, in my arrogance, never did. He has proven himself to be a better man than I am. The realization is a humbling blow. To win her, I cannot defeat him. I must become worthy of her. And that means, finally, truly, letting her go. The war reaches a fever pitch as we near the heart of my kingdom. The Umbra's leader, a shadowy entity of immense power, known only as the Shade Lord, has made its lair in the caverns beneath the Blood Moon Pack House. It is feeding on the corrupted energy of the land, the spiritual wound left by my rejection of Ilara. The final battle will be fought on the very ground where my crime was committed. The night before the assault, the camp is tense. Ilara stands on a precipice, looking down at the territory that cast her out. Her expression is a complex mixture of pain and resolve. I know this is the moment, the full grovel, not to win her back, but to give her the freedom Lysander spoke of, to heal the wound, whether she chooses me or not. I walk to her side. She tenses, but does not move away. We stand in silence for a long time, the sounds of the war camp fading into the background. I don't just want to apologize, Ilara. I begin, my voice quiet but clear. An apology is a word. It costs nothing. I want to make an accounting. She turns to look at me, her guard up, her eyes searching mine for any hint of manipulation. I was weak, I state, meeting her gaze without flinching. I was an alpha king, terrified of looking weak. My counsel was pressuring me. My legacy felt fragile, and when the fates gave me the greatest gift imaginable, I saw it only as a political liability. I saw you, this incredible, luminous soul, and my first thought was how others would perceive me for accepting you. It was the height of arrogance and the depth of cowardice. I take a breath, the confession tearing at my insides. I did not reject you because you were wolfless. I rejected you because I was soulless. I humiliated you in public because my pride was more important to me than your heart. I cast you out because your presence was a constant reminder of my own failure. Every ounce of pain I caused you was born from my own weakness. There is no one else to blame. It is all on me. Her expression remains guarded, but a flicker of something, perhaps surprise at the raw honesty, crosses her features. Then I do the one thing an alpha king is never supposed to do. I go down on one knee before her. My personal guards, standing a respectful distance away, gasp. An audible murmur ripples through the nearby warriors who witness it. I lower my head, baring the back of my neck to her. The ultimate act of submission. My life is yours, I say, my voice thick with emotion. My kingdom is yours. My power is yours. Not as my mate, not as my queen, but as restitution. When this is over, you can walk away. You can choose Lysander. You can return to your mountain and never see me again. And I will not stop you. I will enforce your freedom with my dying breath. All I ask is that you allow me to fight for you. Allow me to bleed for you. Allow me to die for you, if it comes to that. Let my actions, not my words, be my final apology. I wait, my head bowed, my neck bared, completely at her mercy. I feel the tension in the air, the weight of 100 pairs of eyes on us. I feel the frantic, hopeful desperation of my own wolf. This is it. I have laid my pride, my power, my very life at her feet, with no expectation of reward. I have given her back the power I stole from her. The choice is now, and always will be, hers. A long moment passes, stretched thin by the weight of a year of pain. Then, I feel a light touch on my shoulder. Her fingers are cool, sending a jolt of pure, unadulterated energy through me. "Get up, Kaelin," she says, her voice soft, but with an unmistakable command in it. "We have a war to win. I need a king at my side, not at my feet." I look up, and for the first time, the wall of ice in her eyes has a crack in it. I see not forgiveness, not acceptance, but the dawning of a possibility. It is more than I deserve, and it is everything. I rise to my feet, my soul lighter than it has been in a year. The battle for my kingdom is tomorrow. The battle for her heart has just truly begun. The assault on the Blood Moon Pack House is a chaotic symphony of violence and magic. The umbra pour from the caverns, a tide of living darkness. My warriors and Lysanders fight with a desperate ferocity, but it is Alara who turns the tide. She is a celestial storm, her lunar power carving swathes through the enemy ranks. I fight at her side, a loyal guard, my every move dedicated to keeping her safe as she works her devastating magic. We push our way into the Great Hall, the very room where she was rejected. It is now desecrated, twisted by the Shade Lord's dark energy. The stones are slick with shadow, and the air is thick with the stench of the void. In the center of the hall, where I once stood in judgment of her, The Shade Lord coalesces. It is a towering monstrosity of shifting darkness and countless screaming faces. Its power, a suffocating weight. The broken bond, it hisses, its voice a chorus of damned souls. It called me, it fed me. Your despair is my strength, your regret, my wine. I will consume your little light, moon-touched, and then I will feast on the king's soul. It lunges for Ilara. She raises a shield of silver light, but the force of the blow sends her stumbling back. The creature is too powerful, fed by the corrupted wellspring of our broken bond. I cannot beat it alone, she cries out, her voice strained. Its power is rooted in the wound between us. The Shade Lord laughs, a sound that chills the bone. She is right, little king. To defeat me, you must heal the wound. You must complete the bond. But she will never accept you. Her pain is my armor. It lashes out again, a tendril of pure shadow aimed directly at Ilara's heart. There is no time to think. Instinct takes over. My wolf, my love, my desperate need to atone. It all converges in a single, decisive act. I throw myself in front of her. The shadow tendril impales me, running me through. The pain is absolute, a cold that burns worse than any fire, sucking the life and warmth from my body. I gasp, stumbling to my knees, the world fading to gray. Kaelin! Ilara's scream is a sound of pure agony. It is not the scream of a commander losing a soldier. It is the scream of a woman watching her mate die. I look up at her, my vision tunneling. She rushes to my side, catching me as I fall. Her hands are on my face, her tears splashing onto my cheeks. The ice in her eyes has melted, replaced by a torrent of terror and dawning realization. No, she whispers, her voice breaking. No, you don't get to do this. You don't get to die for me. I told you. I force the words past the blood in my throat. My actions would be my apology. I can feel my life force draining, being consumed by the Shade Lord. My wolf is whimpering, fading. This is not an apology, you fool, she sobs, clutching me tighter. This is another wound. She looks from my face to the triumphant Shade Lord, and a new fire ignites in her eyes. A fierce, desperate resolve. No, I will not let you die. I will not let it win. She looks directly into my eyes, her gaze intense, searching. Do you love me, Kaelin? She asks, her voice raw and urgent. The man you are now, not the king you were? Do you love me? More than my life, I whisper, my strength failing. More than my crown, more than my own soul. Then choose me, she says, her voice ringing with power, not because the fates demand it, not because of a bond. Choose me, Ilara, as your equal, as your partner. She leans in, her forehead pressing against mine. And I will choose you. This is her choice, not from a position of weakness or desperation, but from a position of absolute power in the face of our greatest enemy. She is choosing to heal us. She is choosing to save me. With the last of my strength, I focus on the bond, on the love I feel for her, a love purified by a year of suffering and regret. I choose you, Ilara. I breathe. Then, now, and always. Mine. My wolf whispers a final joyful sigh. Ours, her lichen answers in my mind, a voice of moonlight and ancient power. Ilara presses her lips to mine. It is not a kiss of passion, but of union, a conscious, mutual acceptance. The moment our lips touch, the broken bond does not just heal, it ignites. A blinding explosion of silver and gold light erupts from us, throwing the Shade Lord back. The pain in my chest vanishes, replaced by a surge of incredible power. It is her power, my power, woven together into something new, something whole. The wound from the shadow tendril knits itself shut, the dark magic dissolved by the pure light of our completed bond. I rise to my feet, no longer just Kaelin, but a part of something greater. Ilara stands with me, her hand in mine. Her silver lunar energy now swirls with the golden aura of my alpha power. We are two halves of a single, formidable soul. You are bound to a wound, Ilara says to the Shade Lord, her voice echoing with our combined power. But that wound is gone. We are whole, I finish, my voice in perfect sync with hers. The Shade Lord shrieks in fury and fear as its power source is cut off. This is not possible. We raise our joined hands, a column of swirling gold and silver energy, the pure essence of a completed mate bond, slams into the creature. It screams, its shadowy form dissolving, unraveling like thread in a fire. The countless souls trapped within it are released, ascending as motes of peaceful light. The darkness in the great hall vanishes, replaced by the clean, pure light of the morning sun streaming through the high windows. The battle is over. The war is won. In the silence that follows, we stand, hand in hand, breathing as one. The pack warriors, both Ironclaw and Silverwood, stare at us in silent awe. Lysander stands near the doorway, a sad but genuine smile on his face. He gives a slight nod, a final gesture of respect, before turning to lead his warriors in securing the hall. Ilara turns to me, her eyes, clear and bright, searching my face. The pain is gone from them, the ice, the walls. All that is left is a deep, soul-shaking love. Mirrored, I know, in my own. So this is what it feels like, she whispers, a hint of wonder in her voice. To be whole. I am so sorry I made you wait, I say, my voice thick with emotion as I raise her hand to my lips. You are worth the wait, she replies, her voice steady. The man you are now, he was worth waiting for. We are not the same two people who met in this hall a year ago. We are not a foolish king and a broken servant. We are scarred, yes. The memory of the pain will never truly fade, but those scars are now part of our foundation, a testament to the journey we took to find our way back to each other, not as fated mates, but as chosen partners. 6 months later, I stand on the battlements of the Ironclaw Citadel, the crisp evening air cool on my face. Ilara comes to stand beside me, slipping her hand into mine. Our combined scent, pine, frost, and moonlight, is a comforting presence, a symbol of our union. She is no longer just the moon's sentinel or a huntress. She is my queen, my partner in rule, her wisdom and strength tempering my own. We have rebuilt. The kingdoms are united not by conquest, but by a genuine alliance fostered by her and Lysander, who now rules as a trusted friend and advisor on our shared council. The Blood Moon Pack, now led by a just Alpha, has sworn fealty to their queen, Ilara, in a public ceremony that reversed the shame of her rejection. Lyra and her daughter were quietly exiled, their plotting and ambition earning them nothing but obscurity. What are you thinking about? Ilara asks, her head resting on my shoulder. The bond between us is a calm, steady river of warmth and contentment. About how a king's greatest treasure is not his crown, I reply, turning to face her. I cup her face in my hands, my thumbs tracing the faint lines of her old scars, scars I put there. It is the wisdom to know when he is wrong. She smiles, a full, genuine smile that reaches her eyes and makes my heart ache with love. And the strength to become the man his queen deserves. She leans in and kisses me, a soft, lingering kiss, filled with the quiet promise of 1,000 tomorrows. The journey was a path through hell for both of us. But standing here, with her, whole and healed, I know without a doubt that I would walk it all over again. Our love story was not written in the stars. It was forged in fire, earned through suffering, and finally chosen. We are scarred, but we are whole, and our future, a future we built together from the ashes of our past, stretches before us, as bright and limitless as the moon in the night sky.